Hey wonderful people, and welcome back to Silver Coin Podcast. Man, it's been a long time and I'm really glad to be back. We've just returned from Essen last week, and Essen, and we had a lot to do, but now we're back, and in this episode we're also going to talk about our trip, how it was there, and basically all the stuff that was going on, because it was quite an experience, and today we're here to talk about it. Maybe Lan, if you want, you can start. How was your trip? Our trip, your experience, more or less.
It was the same as yours. 13 hours in a car. That's how. It was great. 13 hours kind of went by fast, as you're in a good company. So I think actually it was quite fun. Like those 13 hours, you were driving, so you can tell more about if it was exhausting.
Yeah, it was exhausting. My back started hurting like after 7 hours or so, but as I said, it went fast. It really went fast, because we were talking a lot, we were having fun, we were singing songs together. Some of you might have seen some of the stuff on the Instagram, where we were posting stories or posts. We are trying to get you guys updated, for the ones who haven't been there and haven't seen us in action. So yeah, it sure was exhausting. 13 hours really takes a toll on you, especially if you're driving the whole way. But it was fun. The Germany, one of the things that really kind of surprised me was, when you're thinking about German highways and stuff like that, you're okay, no limits. We're going to be arriving there in a jiffy, right? But no, it's not like that. There are no limits most of the time. But there are so many freaking workers on the roads and stuff. They're doing the third lane or the fourth lane and stuff like that, and you're constantly driving 18, 90 miles per hour. Kilometers per hour, and it started to drag a bit. But
but overall, it was quite fun. So we started. We went there on Tuesday. On Tuesday morning, early morning at around 6, a bit over 6. We started from Slovenia.
You did. I started at 4 o'clock, 4 a.m.
But when we were all properly together, right? Because he was collecting people like a taxi driver, going from one end to another, and then basically we were at Essen at around 5, 6 when we were there.
5 p.m. 5 o'clock.
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe a bit more over 6. And then basically we decided to go straight to the Messe ground, so to the ground where the fair is going on, so that we can start preparing for the fair, to offload some of the stuff. We also had friends. Shout out to Jure and Gasper for helping us. They also had a stand there. We're selling games and so on for their store, and basically we were because they were driving some of our stuff that wouldn't obviously fit in a car. They were driving it with a van, so they basically were having some of our stuff. We made sure that got offloaded, and basically saw the stand grounds and the booths where we have the booth and stuff like that. So it was reassessing the area, checking where everything is and so on, and we continued with that on Wednesday morning, and it was kind of a cool feeling, because there is no one there. There are just exhibitors, so now you feel like this, part of something. Now I'm in the exhibitor group. These are my colleagues working on their own booths, and look, that booth position is great. That one is a bit more crappy. Look at that neon signs. Wow, shit, we are this small team. How are we going to compare into this? And I think that when the booth was starting to get to get some kind of a shape and form and whatever, and we mostly let our artists and graphical designer, be the guys to decide on how to position everything and so on. It didn't look half as bad. Like for these first timers at Essen, without any
experience,
kind of backgrounds of being at these fairs and having to reach out to deep into our own pockets to finance everything. I think we did quite well in that sense. You can see the pictures if you go to our Facebook, Instagram, and so on. We are sharing them as we go. But I don't know, Gal, what did you think about our booth in general, and maybe in comparison to other booths, and maybe talking about that a bit?
So yeah, the first thing I kind of need to mention, you already mentioned it, but it really needs to be like noted that we were the first time at the Essen, so we had like little to no idea how is going to be there, how is our booth going to look like, and when we were like preparing for it, it was also like a bit messy. We had like, okay, we knew how it would be like 4 times 5 meters, right? So 20 square meters, and how exactly it would look, that it would have 2 walls. But other than that, we had absolutely no idea. So we were like, okay, we will put the tables here, we will put like this presentation table at the corner, we will have like roll-ups and stuff like that. But when we got there, like some of the stuff immediately like started to change. Like roll-ups, for example, we planned to have them like on the near the walls, right? And as we like started to build the booth and do the tables and stuff like that, we saw that maybe we need to like put the roll-ups on the more visible spaces, because unlike other booths, our booth was not very like shooting out silver coin. For example, if you went through most of the booths, they had like these big ass like posters or big ass roll-ups or whatever, like stating their game or stating their company. Some even had like those neons, or the ones like hanging from the ceiling, right, stating the company names like visible from like 100 meters away. And in comparison to those, we were like really small, and you had to come like really close to our booth to know what is going on. But that being said, for the first time creators, I think we did an amazing job. And not only that, when you did come close to the booth itself, I think the table presence of the game and the art made by Rogue and the posters we like hang from the like sheet. We hang a sheet, like 3 black sheets from the walls, and basically stuck the posters up there and stuff, so it looked more nice. Yeah, when it came close, I think, in my personal opinion, it looked really astonishing, and that is also one of the reasons why a lot of people were like stopping by and checking our game later on, when people were like when visitors came and started to roam, like around the Essen halls, right? And yeah, and also the presentation table which we like chose to have right at the corner was probably the best idea we could have gotten, because as I said, the game looks amazing on the table, and when we had it on this presentation table, it caught a lot of attention. Maybe you can say a bit more about that, because you were mostly on the presentation table, I was not. Maybe a little bit more about that later, but yeah.
To be honest, I thought that people were stopping by because they were looking for Maki to maybe get a salsa dancer instructor or something. But joking aside, basically, yeah, like it was a 20 square meters booth, so nothing too big. It wasn't the smallest also, but it was enough to do the job. And the presentation table, I also think it was cool. Although, of course, when there were a lot of people around, you couldn't see what was on the table. But you got the idea, and you and Maki were mostly handling the demo tables. But we would switch. Like the plan was, like 5 of us went there, and basically the plan was to rotate and make sure that someone would be constantly getting time off, like resting their vocal cords and stuff like that. And boy, was that, that was a maybe cool plan on paper, but then when you actually see how things are doing and how things are going at the Essen fair, that was kind of uh, the entire idea was collapsing within a couple of hours. I think we kind of realized that that is not going to be the case, because we were mostly at the booth doing stuff constantly till 7, and then you would occasionally get this maybe kind of breakage, like getting a chance to maybe go to toilet or maybe grab something quick to eat. So there was definitely no rotations in a sense, like there were like kind of artificial rotations, but like we were just trying to keep the head above the water, keep the stand going, making sure that everyone that came there actually got the information they were looking for. The demo tables were basically being booked every single day, and even if they were not immediately, for instance, filled as the first day and so on, people would then sit down, and there wasn't that much of a these tables are spare, you are free to go grab something to eat, and so on. It was mostly basically trying to keep everything afloat, and that was of course cool to see, because if I had to go and pick what I want, I would definitely go with that instead of there's actually less people, so now everyone has time to rest. And surprisingly enough, our vocal cords and in general health and stuff was managing. Like the first 2 days, you could see like maybe there are going to be some people, being cut off or whatever, but that wasn't even the case. Like our voices got sturdy, we got trained, and we were able to manage. I think that we could manage for a couple more days also, but it was interesting in that aspect.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, it was like chaotic, and we were trying to adapt. Like each day, so we like organized something new, and it was really confusing at the beginning, because at the first, basically, even before Essen, I mean not Essen. This is one thing I also like want to fix. I don't want to call it Essen. I want to call it Spiel, because the Essen is just the name of the city, and just like you don't call it Indianapolis, right? You call it Gen Con.
Yes.
So we should like call it Spiel, probably.
Yes, I saw those comments. Yeah.
Yes.
the natural thing to go, because Spiel also means like game, in German. So
yes,
you don't want to call it game. Also, like the natural feeling is, this just calling it game. This doesn't tell what the event is about. But actually, like from local people, from German people, you would hear, no, it's actually the Spiel, and everyone knows what the Spiel is and so on. But you naturally want to,
add the
say
city,
something like Essen Spiel or whatever, right? Or Messe Essen, God forbid, or whatever. but basically, to those of you who know what we are talking about, especially the German population, we get it. We had a kind of Ahnung about those type of things. That was what I was saying when people were starting to talk German to me, because we learned some German. Gal was probably he was the most fluent in German, but even he
fluent.
Fluent, passing by. But basically, English was saving us, and German was like additional thing that we used. And thank God, like most of the people that were stopping by and so on, they were maybe the German, only the German speaking people would just pass by, they wouldn't stop at all. Maybe that was the case also. But we were also positioned, by the way, in hall 5. We were saying it all time before the Essen, so maybe now I didn't feel the need to mention it, but we were positioned in hall 5. We were quite close to the guys who had to the Oink Oink games. That's the most important. So Fake Artist goes to New York and stuff like that. But there were also some very interesting companies and games around us. Like there was the Italian publisher with Golem and
Barash. And Barash, yeah.
Yeah, in Barrage, and then we had Europa Universalis guys, quite close. There were alley cats across the street. So we had, and there was like, of course, the main stand at the Hall 5 was the brewer, who was presenting games like Strogano and
Hippocrates, yeah.
yes, correct. So basically, there were definitely things going on at Hall 5, but it was definitely also more about the companies like us, Kickstarters, crowdfunding campaigns, self-publishers, those type of things. I think you could feel it, and also in connection with Hall 6, which was more about the artist and you know, those additional stuff that you get next to gaming, like dice and clothing and whatever for those type of things. So we fit into that mold well, I think, because Hall 1, 2, and 3 were more for those bigger companies, established publishers and stuff like that, I think. I kind of liked our position where we were, like, but I think that the way we handled it and with the product that we have and so on, I kind of also have a feeling that everywhere where we would be, there would be people that would be very interested in us, and there wouldn't be kind of, you know, the bad position for us anyway. Maybe the Hall 6 was more about, you know, at the end of the entire messe and so on, but Hall 5 was, I think, good.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, at first I thought it was like a abysmal position, because it not only Hall 5, which was already smaller than all other halls, right? Because it was like half of it was closed. Not only that we were in the Hall 5, we were also in the far corner of the Hall 5. Where we thought, where we thought like, okay, nobody will come here. All of the other like places are going to be like crowded, and we're going to have like a few people like getting lost in the corner by coincidence. But no, basically, I think it was good that we were there, because we were handling things much more easier. Because if we were like in the Hall 1, 2, 3, where there are like a lot of big companies, a lot of big and already known games beforehand, right? We would be like lost in the crowd in all of the other games. But in Hall 5, I think, I mean, I don't want to like disrespect others, but I do think we were like one of the main attractions, mostly thanks to the also the Essen preview to the Essen preview, which we were like working on before that, right?
top 10, in the
at some
Essen
point
preview.
We were 6th, and I think at the time of the Essen we were 9th. And a lot of people that came by, like, we saw you on the Essen preview, and we thought it was interesting, so we wanted to take a look. And we're like, great, thank God we like spent time and invested a lot of, a lot of time and a lot of effort on getting us into top 5. But
it was, and thanks to the community also for helping with that.
Definitely.
It was in general interesting that, like, first it was like, okay, people would randomly find you. Some people would come because of the preview and stuff, or maybe they were part of the community and they came to say hello. That is even more amazing. Thanks, guys. But then as the fair went on, like the second day, third day, you would see like, okay, there were some additional stuff, like Alex from Board & Co. Basically, he put us in our top in his top 10 most excited games for Essen SPIEL and stuff like that. So all of those things were like helping build up this small hype or whatever. But the cool thing for me was also like seeing people saying, oh, a friend of mine said that he saw you, your booth and your game, and he was talking to me about this game the entire evening yesterday, so I went to check it also. So those type of things, when you see that people who are actually attending Essen also were like talking between each other, like what was happening, what cool games there are, that was like cool that people would talk about us, because I mentioned it to the people, and I will say it again here on this podcast. I was truly honored that anyone would take 1-2 minutes or whatever of their time to check us out, not because I think that we are crap. No, I think that we are, we have a good product in our hand and stuff like that. But it was more about just the sheer numbers of games that are at Essen, and well-known publisher and so on. And people, they don't have time to play all the games, to check everything out and so on. So if they came to check us out, for me that was an honor. So if I could tell them something about the games, if we could if we could show them stuff and whatever, I think that that was amazing for me already, right? But yeah, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I also want to thank all of you who went there, to others that are not listening to this, that basically made the whole trip to Essen, to the Spiel 2021 amazing. Because it sure was exhausting, but it was exhausting because it was fun. If it wasn't so crowded, if it wasn't so many people, it wasn't as exhausting as it was. But definitely a lot of positive responses and a lot of enthusiastic people make the 6 days, or even we were there for 6 days, I think, and they went by like that. Really, really fast, and also all the exhaustion, the numbness in the legs, the voice that started to fade after the first day got back. It was a bit deeper because the high pitched kind of lost itself in the process, but it was definitely amazing. And as I was saying a few minutes ago, basically the first few days, the first 2 days were really chaotic. And we were trying to adapt ourselves throughout the whole fair, right? Because at first, what our plan was, we had 2 tables for demoing the game, and both had places for 4 people each. So 8 people in total for demoing the game, and then we had the laptop, and the one managing the laptop and stuff like that, and then the presentation table with the game, not intended to play demo, but to basically explain to those passing by who are interested in stuff. And before the fair, before the Spiel 2021, we were some of you have contacted us about play demoing, who was visiting Essen, right, and would like to demo the game. And we had a few of you, and also a few of media, saving schedules and basically making sure they get their space at the demo table and stuff like that. So we had one table reserved for those basically who reserved it beforehand, and then our plan was basically to people can come by and start play a few turns, and then some of them will go away and to other go visit other games and stuff, and a few other people will come and basically take their place, and it's going to be shifting and switching.
No one is taking your place. You're in our hearts.
True.
You know what Gal was
you know what I mean. But basically that was our plan, at least. So the first day was really chaotic because this was unmanageable, because yes, some people came and went to the table and you started explaining them, and you had no time limit for them. They might be there for half an hour, some might be there for 2 hours, and you didn't have a scheduled demo for them for limited amount of time. So it was really unmanageable, and even other people started, because there was so much buzz about us and so many people around us. Basically we started using our second table for the same purposes, right? For the people constantly switching places and stuff. And a lot of people were, because the tables were full at the beginning almost, a lot of people were starting to schedule their demos for the next day or for the same day later on, right? And this is how we basically started to figure out that we need to schedule all the demos, because otherwise we won't manage, and some people might be disappointed because they won't get to try the game out, and it will be not organized at all. So we started basically using the Google Sheets, I think, to basically gather people in. And because there was a poor internet connection, there was a lot of misunderstandings as well with Google Sheets. So we needed to switch to Excel, Microsoft Excel, and then basically the things kind of cooled down and we had everything under control. And basically for the Saturday, Friday, and Thursday, there were like everything was like booked up on one day before, and even for Sunday, there were like only 4 or 5 spaces left when we started at Sunday, and they were all like filled up until the end of the day. So a lot of people, and it was amazing, especially when we started to like get the hang of it, and to see how we basically can handle all of those things without messing it up, because as I said, we were totally inexperienced. We also in Slovenia we didn't have anything as big as Fair Spiel, right? I mean Spiel 2021. So we had like no idea how it was going to look like, and we had no ways of like organizing ourselves as good as we could. But yeah, thanks again for all of you who like scheduled demos before the Spiel, because you like also like made our days. You know, when you it's good when you meet people who don't know the game and are enthusiastic and tell you good things about, but it's even better when you see community which knows you beforehand, and basically some of you have like been watching us and for like past
okay, now you're going into that, you know, creepy mode.
Creepy mode. Nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
But,
but basically, the interesting part of it is our game is not small, so demoing it is kind of a challenge to make sure that you kind of explain stuff to the people, especially because, to be honest, not a lot of people demoing the game were knowing the rules and stuff, so you had to explain parts of it so that they could at least start playing and stuff, you know. And for the bigger games, that's always a challenge. So you had to kind of present the essence of the game and the flow of the game and how things are going in that 1 hour. And then depending on how well people are catching up, and if they maybe even check the rules beforehand or whatever, that you didn't have to explain what this game is about, how it's in general played, and because even if you do a quick summary of that and someone that can take time, especially if people are not all together there at the first minute when the demo starts. So that can, you know, take 20 minutes of the demo just for people to sit down and for you to tell them the premise of the game and what's happening and so on before they actually even start to play or whatever. So, and then you have like 30 minutes 40 minutes to wrap everything up and to actually do things. For the smaller games, even if people are new and don't know, that's easy. For our game, that's not so easy. When people know how to play it, like I said to many people that I was explaining this game to, it's like usually 1 hour per player. I play it like that. It can go like snap. You can go quickly through the turns. But for those totally new people, you have to guide them. You have to create some kind of scenarios and stuff. And you and Maki were doing a good thing with that. And for me, at the presentation table, it was also interesting, like how you kind of optimize your way of saying stuff and getting the point across, and then adapting to what the people want to hear or basically what information they're looking for, without being too redundant and speaking about other things. You kind of optimize. Everyone becomes a mini professional of what they're doing. You and Maki were becoming a mini professional at demoing. I was doing presentation, I think, really well, like connecting the dots and stuff really quickly, because I was, you know, versed of doing that, and probably I presented the game to, I don't know, maybe I did like 300 presentations whatever, like, you know, it becomes very natural and quick to you. So that is an interesting thing. But maybe you know, so we don't drag this too much and talk just about those things. What about the Essen SPIEL in general? Like, what did you think about the size of everything? What were maybe some games that you were managing to check in those short glimpses that you would be able to go and check stuff out? Maybe some words about that, Ghana.
Actually, I didn't get a look of a lot of games because I didn't have time to. But yeah, the Spiel itself is really big, and you need to take into consideration that it basically was like 2 times smaller than it was like 2 years ago, like in 2019. And we were told that like a couple of times. We were saying to people that yeah, it's really big, a lot of people are coming by, and some people said like you have no idea what it would be like 2 years ago and stuff like that, when all of the halls were open and basically people were so crowded they would need to like battle their way through getting to the other stand and stuff like that. So yeah, I can't imagine how that would look like, but it was already big. Bigger than I ever experienced something like that, right? In the past, but still, I didn't have a lot of chances to see around because, as Lam said before, as he said, like our plan was that like each of us will take a break, like 2-hour break or 3-hour break, so he can go like eat, so they can go eat and like go to the toilet and basically experience Essen Spiel as they could, right? So not only to go to the other games and maybe play some and see what the fair has to offer, but also to like scout basically for their own personal growth. For example, the Rogue, the artist, might be looking at other illustrations, right, from the other games and might get inspired or see, oh, they really did that good, so I might do something similar or use some similar techniques or whatever. And I more the communication marketing areas, right, would look like how they would like present games, how they would basically communicate, and etc, etc. So how the others are doing, who are much more experienced in those stuff as we are, but we didn't have a lot of chances. Basically, I personally had like half an hour break or maybe something like that. The first day I had like a 1-2 hour break maybe, but it was mostly like going throughout all of the like exhibitors and booths to see who are all of the exhibitors, which games are present there, which games I know, which games I don't know about. Some of them have explained the games to me, but most of the times other booths but were just as full as we were, as ours were, right?
Yeah.
So basically, if I tried to play like I wanted to take a look at Bitoku, for example, or like or Tsukuyomi, which we have but haven't had the chance to play, or something like that, or Ice, for example. So a lot of those games I knew before, but I would like to like have a quick look or maybe play a few turns to have a better glimpse. Most of the time I hadn't had the chance because I only had like half an hour or maybe an hour of the free time, right? And most of the tables were full. So even if I was like by myself, because we hadn't had the chance to go like 2 or 3 together, right? And if you're by yourself, you hardly have a chance to like join the table or something like that, because right, mostly they're already full at that time. But yeah, it was definitely really impressive. I also learned about a couple of new games which I find really interesting. And in general, I think it was really good, but like, not to disrespect others, but like after the first 2 days, mostly I spent my breaks at my own booth. I really felt like when I went to the toilet or when I went around the fair looking at other games, I really felt like I'm missing something when I'm not at our booth, right? So I was like, oh no, they might be having something fun, or there might be a fun group there who they're having fun with, and I'm missing out on this. And basically, I was trying to most of the time I was just trying to get something to eat, go to the toilet, maybe look at some of the games, but mostly I spent my free time at our own booth. And even the last 2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday, I mostly basically spent my free time at behind the like laptop and stuff like that, and basically just like eating my
sandwiches and stuff.
Sandwiches and stuff. And if someone like wanted a help or something like that, right, I would still help, but so I was still present. I was like spectating others, because that's also one of the things that may be worth mentioning. Even after the fair was over, not like the whole fair, but each day was over, right? all of us had no idea what was happening to each of us, right? Because all of us were so damn busy with what we were doing, because there was like a lot of people, and immediately when the group you had went away, a new one came, and you had like no chances of like communicating with others how they are doing or if they need any help and stuff like that. So basically each time we got to the home to get our Airbnb, right, we were like cooking and eating our dinner and basically talking to each other what everyone experienced and how was everyone's day. We got like a lot of business cards, and we were like going through all of those business cards. Who are they? What do they offer? Did they like the game and stuff like that? So, and we had like all of those written in the Word, and basically having a plan to contact them, each and every one, right? So we know what was going on, because otherwise you just know what was going on with you and you only, right? So yeah,
you're putting the mosaic pieces to create this final image of what was actually going on. Definitely true. As for the fair and so on, the information we got was like 600 plus exhibitors were present this year, and 2 years ago it was like 1,100. So like a half of that was here this year. But I definitely was cool with the amount of people and so on. I don't like those really crowded areas that you have to wait to even walk through and stuff like that. So I was happy that there were a lot of people, but there were not that many that you couldn't go normally to the toilet or whatever, right? So in that sense, for me, that was really cool. As for other games and so on, like I was checking a bit of stuff. Like I was like Paul Grogan was presenting to me Under the Falling Skies and stuff like that. So I was checking some of those things out just for fun, and also to see how others are presenting the games. I was also looking for some bigger games and to see how they demo that. But even with there are not many bigger games that people were demoing. Even those that were there, I was not that impressed with how things were demoed. So I was like, trying to search and see if there's something that we can maybe learn and use for our demos. But basically, the most quality time that I actually got was before the start of each day and after the official end on each day. That was like at 7, but then we were there till 8, so the exhibitors still were there like for 1 hour or whatever. And in that time mostly we were actually talking with people and so on. The thing that I will remember and probably hold dear in my heart, whatever, was we were talking, for instance, with the designers of War of the Ring, Marco Maggi and Francesco Napitello, and shout out to them if ever they will be listening this, but probably not. But anyway, we had these like long discussions about the designing and what makes it click for them, how they view the designing and how they managed things in the past and with War of the Ring, and what are the things that we need to be careful about, or what are some advices that they would give to us. And I think that like in many aspects we were very agreeing in what they were saying. Like they also are designers that basically and I don't know if people know, but War of the Ring was actually designed by 3 people, so there are actually 3 designers. The one missing is Roberto Di Miguelio, if I am even pronouncing all the names correctly. But basically they too believe that it's not just about the mechanics and making sure that the game is constructed well. It's also not just about this epic team or whatever. It's mostly about or for them it's very important, and to us also, to make sure that you connect the team through the mechanics and that everything then makes sense. It's easier for the player to learn the game. It's more fun when you are doing mechanics that are actually thematically sound. So it was very much about those things. And yeah, I like those kind of discussions, you know. We even had like a small discussion with people from Europa Universalis, with Game Brewer and so on. So those were also really fun talks that we had. And about the games, I was actually checking out. Tsukuyomi a bit, yeah, because I have the game and so on. I was checking Europa Universalis, as I mentioned plenty of times. I was checking a bit of Golem. I was checking a bit of. I actually didn't have the chance to check Bitoku. I heard some interesting things about Bitoku, but to be honest, visually, because visually the game has to be in some sense appealing, and I don't mean just eye candy stuff. But when you look at stuff, the problem I had with Bitoku, and I hope I have a chance to check it out more, to play it and so on. But basically, there is so much color stuff and symbols and whatever going on that it's not immediately clear to me what is actually going on that board. That it's so like someone would splatter the colors, and our board is also colorful and stuff, but there it's like just, you know, a bunch of stuff. So that's why, for instance, I was actually more focused on other games, Euro games, for example. I was also checking the Fractal. You mentioned Ice, that was also a good one. Then even Oath was there, and
Voidfall.
This, yes, and Voidfall. I actually wanted to demo Voidfall because it was also a bigger game and so on. I like the premise of the game and what is it all about. But actually, I want to see how it plays a bit more. So, you know, how different it is in way it plays into other games, and do I like that? So. That was a shame that I didn't get a spot because they were also quite full with their. They are, or now they have finished. Very successful Kickstarter, and it showed by having all the demo tables full and stuff. So yeah, that one was one that I desired, but looking back, I probably wouldn't have the time, to be honest, to play for. And their demo was actually for 2 hours. They had more tables than us, but still, their demo was actually for 2 hours, so you can experience definitely a lot more in 2 hours. If we had demo for 2 hours, that would be a lot more, but then a lot less people would be able to actually check out and demo the stuff. So it's always hard to manage that. And I think maybe 2 hours is maybe even too much for Essen, because there are so many games that someone would spend 2 hours demoing your game. Okay, I guess. But anyway, so yeah, that was I guess about the Essen stuff. Do you want to say anything more, or do we talk about, you know, what is happening post Essen? What are some of the plans? We also gave out one of our prototype copies. Please don't destroy it, guys from Poland. Please don't. But basically, people are checking the game. The game is not final. The game is still in prototype form, but very a lot of stuff are. Have the final idea, and it's close to what the game will look like and feel like, but we are still tweaking stuff. We are still changing some of the actions and stuff like that are going to be there. There is a lot of stuff missing, at least in the prototype copy, in terms of scenarios and so on, because we just created physically the one I think it was, yeah, All Infestation scenario that I could show to the people that would be asking for co-op and single player, how that works and so on. That was very good, because competitive is the best one to basically present to people, to make sure that as many people as possible are sitting around the table. So we were setting up demos for 4 people. Of course, solo you cannot do that, and for cooperative, most of the scenarios are for 2 to 3 players. So we are, you know, in that sense, competitive was the best. It also shows some additional stuff like bidding for the characters, which is unique and stuff like that. So, but I am happy that we took together also the event cards for scenarios and so on, just to show to the people how that works differently. But yeah, Gal, maybe because you were talking with the guys and you're responsible for marketing, to who did we give our prototype to, that they will be checking the game and maybe also releasing something about it soon.
So yeah, they're called Beastie Geeks. Maybe some of you know about it. They are a Polish content creator. They're making Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. They're probably most known on Instagram, and they're making like those really cool pictures, really cool videos, and overall like a good visual representation of the game, and also like cool reviews. So we were really happy when we were approached by them, and when we like saw that they liked the game. When I saw it, we were also like talking a bit, connected, and I think we're happy. They should be like finishing and starting reviewing this week. So basically, and after that, we will have the new reviewers, the new media and stuff like that ready to send the prototype to, and the prototype will hopefully like circle around the Europe to different media, different content creators, and we will like have this symbiotic relationship with all of them. They will be they will have content, and they will get the prototype to review, and we will get hopefully some media exposure and hopefully some positive feedback, which we are definitely excited about.
Yeah. Shortly said and sweet. I think that says a lot. As for us, so it will be a lot of meetings that we have scheduled post Essen with people that we didn't have the chance to talk with during the Essen. So people from China, people from Poland, people from all over the place, from the distributors to the publishers to whatever, right? We are going to talk with those people. We are also going to continue work with the art and graphical design to improve some of the stuff to things that we already know. Design-wise, we are making some small changes based on the things that we already decided in the past, based on the things that you gave us also some of the feedback. Some of it was cool in these demos and stuff like that, and also we had like 13 hours to think about stuff when we were driving home, and probably like majority of those hours were spent about discussing about those smaller changes that we are actually going to try out and do, because we are constantly improving, constantly optimizing stuff. There is no stuff, I mean the core of the game is set in stone, but there are a lot of things happening. Then we are also preparing and uploading stuff on Tabletopia, so everyone has a chance to experience different types of way of playing. So I'm mostly talking about competitive, solo and cooperative. Own infestation scenario is already up. There are a couple of small changes and tweaks that Maki needs to do to make it okay, but in general it's up there. The competitive mode is up there for a long time, and also cooperative mode, we will be uploading a scenario for that one shortly also, hopefully maybe even before November if we manage to do it, but definitely in November, the start of November, the co-op scenario will be there. So then we will have all 3 modes for you guys to check out and try, and you can ask us for links and stuff. We are also going to be preparing scenario rulebook booklet so people can play those, because solo and cooperative are scenario driven. So we need to do that. Rulebook needs updating, so when we will get to that, because there are a lot of things that are outdated, because we had rulebook out there for like long time. Also for the components, for the prototypes that we are sending, like I'm still a bit cringed about, because I know that some things will change, some things have changed and so on, and the prototype is a bit outdated about those things. So I'm that kind of a guy that I would prefer that you would change the cards before sending to the other people, but then there's also other things to consider, so we will see how that goes. But basically those are like the main things that we're doing. But then also further on, designing, playtesting the game. What I'm talking about there is mostly about scenarios, because we have more scenarios planned and so on, so we are designing those still, and it's gonna be fun times ahead. I'm sure of it. Gal, anything you would add?
No, you basically kind of covered everything. Basically, we're really busy even after Essen SPIEL, right? Because there are like so many people to contact, so many things to discuss, to basically change, starting working on scenarios, basically start working on social media content. The community is growing each and every day, and I'm really excited about that. But then again, you still need to like try to interact with most of them, right? And some of them are like asking for links and try to help them play test, play demo, even after Essen SPIEL. So a lot of work and even more work is going to come, but that's a good news. If you had no work, that would be bad news. So that's what I'm saying.
Definitely. And also, maybe before we wrap this episode up, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that now we, have done this. Probably the next newsletter will cover Essen and what was going on and stuff like that. But now after that, we are coming to fresh other things. So we will not, be bombarding with Essen stuff all the time. But it's natural because it was a big event and important for us. But next episode on the podcast, we actually want to bring one of you or that is part of our community to the podcast. If anyone would like to maybe join any future podcast, you're free to reach out. This person, I will not reveal his name and so on. He's actually also a reviewer that we met in the past by coincidence, and he said some nice things about us. So we were like, okay. We definitely want to talk with you more. We want to, to see the other side. Like you be the interviewer, you are asking us stuff. We will see how that goes. But I'm happy that we are bringing the community also to this podcast and stuff like that. So we switch and show different things about how things are with this project and us, and it's very just natural, and we will see how it goes. We can do whatever we want. That's why these podcasts were made. So we let you explore more about the game, more about the project, about how crowdfunding works, and for this project specifically, and also about us, that you learn stuff about us.
Yeah, and mostly to have fun also. So definitely having a discussion with the community, or maybe having a Rok or Maki on the podcast. Maki has already been here. It's really nice to have like a change of flow and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited about the next podcast. You should definitely check it up when it comes. And yes.
I need to get Nija on one of those podcasts just to
boost the audience.
So you can get the perspective of a partner
caught in the process.
Crime. So she can say about all the sacrifice she did for this project, all the time. Basically, I'm missing away from family and kids.
You should also get Sweet to get the perspective of your kid.
But inspiration. But actually, like maybe we can take a time off of the next podcast. Maybe you can invite Katya, Rok can invite Sarah, I can invite Neja, and just girlfriends will have a talk between each other, like about how this project is affecting. Maybe they can
the relationships, and they're going to bash about our project, and we'll basically like close in the next 2 weeks. No, they will kill us if we close if we stop the project and basically stop working on it, so we can focus on families. We would be like decapitated, and I heard that decapitation might cause death, so we should definitely avoid that.
Definitely. So that's it. Like let's go, Gal. I have to tweak out some of the events for the scenario, so I'll go to design that, and you have other things to do also. So
yes, perfect. Bye guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.